Hi, welcome to Ken's Veg Patch once again. It's now really in the depths of winter. In fact, it's December the 28th. You can probably tell from behind me that Christmas is on us, and most people this time of year they're eating mince pies and watching television and keeping warm and doing all sorts of things, but us keen gardeners, there are things to do. So today we're going to sow the first lot of tomatoes, and I'm going to go through the next stage of growing the new potatoes that we'll hope to harvest hopefully March or so next year, and we'll look at one or two other things, but there is a lot to do, and this is really the real start of the busy gardening year. It's a bit cold out here, so we'll get in the greenhouse and get working. But we'll just call and have a look at the garlic we planted in October en route. So we'll see you in the greenhouse. Right, well, here's the garlic. If you saw the video when we planted it, you'll realise that I think there's 8 rows with 7 in each, and it's coming through quite nicely now. In fact, it looks very healthy. I'm quite pleased. And some are a bit slower than others, but everyone's there, so we don't need to overplant them. And what's happening now in this cold period, the garlic bulbs are breaking up to form individual cloves, and that's what happens at this time of year when it's cold. So I'm very happy, and everything is growing well, and we've got a good wide spacing, so I'm hoping we might not be attacked with the onion rust that we did last year, but we'll know about that come August. So that's the garlic, so we'll get inside to try and get warm and show you how to do these tomatoes. Right, we're in the greenhouse. It's slightly warm here, but it's still definitely winter and there's a light drizzle outside, so I don't think we'll take too long on this. We don't want to freeze to death. In the October video we sowed broad beans, and I said at the time I didn't want them to be in too rich a soil because I didn't want lush growth, because we've got to come through a long winter yet. But unfortunately the weather's been so mild here in Lancashire that everything's dropped away, and these are the end result. These were sown in October, and unfortunately they've shot away. They should only really be about that big now, and very, very tight, hard plants, but these are very lush. So what's going to happen now, unfortunately, is that they're going to run out of nutrients and they go yellow and they'll be pathetic. So whereas I did plan to plant them in February, I'll have to put them in now, and I'll have to stake them because they're so soft that they'll get blown about, and the first gale will probably tear them apart. But it just shows that gardening really is all about coming out of a situation and adapting. So I'll keep you in touch, and we'll see how they go on in a later video. And they have been outside, so they go back outside, and then we'll plant them. I'll keep you in touch with those. Right, well that's the broad beans. Okay, up to now, I'll keep you in touch with those. What we're really here for today though is to sow the tomatoes. I grow 3 types of tomatoes. I grow cherries for nibbling and eating all the time, grow beefsteaks for slicing and having with salads, and Italian plums for doing pasta sauces and that. But I found that for doing very early ones at this time of year, I stick to me cherries, and this is one called Gardener's Delight. So we'll sow some of these. I'll sow about 20 seeds, and I only really need about 6 plants, so I'll pick probably the 10 best out if they all germinate, and reduce them slowly to 6, and probably give a couple away and grow 4, because with the setup we've got you can't really have too many tomatoes this time of the year because we just don't have room. So I'm going to use quite a strong compost. You want to be really, really keen on keeping sterile and clean at this time of year because that many things can kill them. When they do get growing, I've got water tubs outside, but I won't use tub water, I'll use water out of the tap because cleanliness is so important. So this is a good strong compost. I don't know if I've moved a bit fast there, Mr. Cameron, if you can manage. But this is a good strong compost. It's one with slowly release fertiliser inside because I would think they're going to be in this compost for about 6 weeks till we prick them off. So we'll get a nice bit of a base there, and we'll just put, this is a weaker compost but it's a bit drier and fluffier, so we'll just put that on there, get it roughly level, and then give it a nice firming down. And I'm sure everybody knows how to do this, but at least you can see it being done, and then if everything does work successfully, you've been in at the start. So this is Gardener's Delight. There's loads of seeds there. Just a very light sowing, as scatter them as best we can. This is a very cheap seed. When you get the F1 hybrid, you can pay a fortune for 2 or 3 seeds, but this you probably get about 500 for coppers really. So in fact, a lot of the time with this type you can actually save your own seed if it's not an F1 hybrid. So that's probably ample really, because I say we only want 2 plants at the end of it. So with tomatoes, you sow them on the surface and then just a very light dusting to cover them. That's all we need. And with tomatoes, unlike a lot of plants, you don't cover the seeds and put them in darkness. Just a sheet of glass on the top to keep the moisture in, but nothing else on top because they do need the light to help germinate. So we'll get those, we'll get a tray with some water in. This is quite clean water, but it's not as important when they're taking up by the roots as the water that goes on the leaves. And we'll just pop those in there. They'll take up ample water, and that'll last them for the first few weeks of the growing period until we prick them out. Right, that's the broad beans talked about, the garlic, and we've done the tomato seeds. There's just one more job, and this is quite an interesting one. If you were with us on the last video, we took some baby potatoes from the ones we grew last year. This is the nice Mirabelle salad potato, and we put them in egg boxes to chit. Now they chitted quite successfully. When they looked like they'd thrown little shoots, I plunged them into this box with a light covering of peat compost and let them have some moisture, and then they really started to produce. So you can see the embryonic leaves, but when we take these out you'll appreciate that they have gone balmy and there's more growth underneath than on the top, but you can see lovely healthy root growth. So now they're at the stage where we can pot them up. There were some, I had 2 boxes of those, and I did one about 2 weeks ago, and excuse my back. You can see they're now starting to make good looking little plants. These should grow onwards and onwards. Hopefully they're making good root growth at the same time. Yeah, just look at that. Nice and healthy, and these are potatoes flying along on the 28th of December, which is a good thing to see. So all we do with these now, this is a cheap supermarket compost, because in about 5 or 6 weeks, if everything goes well and we don't get anything really terrible weather, they should have got nice leaves, and we'll put 3 of each of those pots in a black bucket So they'll only be in this pot for relying on it for probably 5 weeks. So quite a cheap, not very strong compost will do. So just a bit on the bottom like that, and we'll tease these apart. We don't want to break a lot of the roots off because obviously they've so hard to make these roots, but that's all we need. So we've got the shoot there. There will be more shoots there. We'll just pop those in there and chop them up, and it don't matter if you bury that little root there, but it needs everything growing for it, so it's down there. We'll just leave it there and tear the next one apart. There's two, well, they do get like spaghetti there, but they're two good ones. Nice healthy roots. There's only, well, you can't see the shoots, but there will be shoots in there. They can kid you along there. That's got plenty of shoots, so we'll just do another one. Just a bit of compost in the bottom. Get all the roots in there, and don't worry about the shoot on that. There isn't one obvious. And these can be watered from above. They're a lot stronger, although they are the same family as tomatoes. And that's the next stage. So these will grow on for about another 5 or 6 weeks. And as I said before, the weather will be, the daylight length will be getting longer, and we'll probably bring them into this part of the greenhouse. That's very gentle heat. It drops to about 50 degrees at night, but it's ample for these potatoes. So we'll pop those up in about 6 weeks, all being well. So that's the jobs we needed to do at the moment. So we're well on the way to getting some early produce for next year. So there's not much else we can do, but wish you all a happy Christmas and looking forward to a good garden year, and hope everybody has a good year next year. Thanks.